Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Raw with Marty Gallagher and JP Bryce on ICTV. Today, with the holidays coming up, they're right around the corner. We've got Thanksgiving next week, and then Christmas will soon be here. Usually around this time, everybody kind of gets freaked out about overindulging. There's always food around, you tend to go to family's house and pick out, and the question always is, should I do that? Should I adhere to what I'm doing already? What should I do? So Marty and I were talking a while back. In fact, we were talking about this with Kirk Karwoski, and we talked about this novel approach that a lot of the elite athletes use, and it's called Anabolic Burst. So let's get into it. Let's ask Marty what Anabolic Burst is.
Anabolic burst is a rationale for sanctioned gluttony. Okay?
By the way, this is your Christmas tale that you tell all your guys.
Yes,
right?
prior to every holidays. It's like, so how do you deal with, you're going to pig out every Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. I mean, come on. You always say you won't, but you will. So let's face up to reality. How do you deal with that? And the strategy that we came up with is actually highly researched. And we're going to backtrack a little bit here. We're going to take you back to the skinny elite bodybuilders of the late 70s and early 80s. JP, you would remember them. We're talking the Frank Zane, Chris Dickerson era.
Yeah.
Those guys were winning the Olympia, right? Chris Dickerson with 16 and a half inch arms beat Bertel Fox. It's like, what? Who was judging that? Blind people? How did that happen?
Well, yeah, it's just really evolved since then. I mean, now it's all about mass.
It's all about the judging, and back then they were trying to push the low body fat percentile, and what the Zanes and the Dickersons and the small guys of the era got right is they were able to achieve extremely low body fat percentiles by going on the fish and water diet, right? You know that one.
Yeah, but that's usually at the end, right? When they're dieting for their show. I don't think
yeah,
they're doing that all year round.
No, but I'm saying that when the fish and water diet was the standard operating procedure for elite bodybuilders to attain maximum low body fat. You could switch out fish. Ken Waller said that he was able to get cut on turkey breast. So for him, it was turkey breast and water. It was a lean protein source and water, and you just adhered to that for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long you could stand it, and you would get ripped because you have no insulin in your system. If you're just living on protein and fat and water, you have no carbs, therefore you have no insulin spikes, and you will lean out. The problem is that in most cases, because of the exercise aspect, you also lose lean muscle mass, right? Right. So you end up kind of emaciated, what I call prison camp fitness. In a prison camp, what do? They overwork the inmates and they underfeed them, which is basically what they were doing back in the late 70s and early 80s. They were starving themselves like on 800 calories a day, in addition to doing double cardio sessions or double lifting sessions. I mean, high volume, low calorie starvation, and these guys were dragging ass. All this ties together. All right, so that was number one. Number two, what those guys found out was that when they competed, they after the Olympia or the Night of Champions or the Arnold or whatever the major event was, the pros would go off their diet that night, right? If the show was Saturday night, they went off the damn diet Saturday night, right? And what they discovered was that by Wednesday, they were 15 pounds heavier, looked better, and felt fantastic. Now, they could barely move the day of the competition, or the day of the show. Excuse me, they don't call them competitions, they're shows. So this was the birth of the anabolic burst, because this phenomena was regular and reoccurring with these emaciated, low-calorie bodybuilders that suddenly suffused their system with all kinds of calories, indiscriminate calories, could be anything. Just jam as many calories as you could, like a supercharger or a turbocharger, into your body. And there was this wonderful period of time, could be 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours, could be a week, who knows, where any calories you took in were converted to muscle or excreted. Your body had temporarily, because of the lead-up prison camp emaciation phase, you with me? You tracking?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I got some questions. Go ahead.
Up to the competition, the body had forgotten how to process fat. Why? Because it hadn't processed any damn fat for 8 to 12 weeks, right? Now, it's overwhelmed with all these calories, including a lot of fat, a lot of sugar, a lot of whatever, right? And it literally can't create fat. There's this little period of time where it's forgotten how. And the idea is you become as big as you can during that short window, but as soon as you go into what they call spillover occurs when the body relearns how to make fat, right?
So a couple observations here. So I just watched the Ronnie Coleman special, and it kind of goes out how, talks about how he got started and how he came up at Metroflex in Texas and did all that. And then they had, they kept going over to guys like Kevin Levrone. Is it Levrone or Levrone?
Either. He goes by either. He'll answer to either. Just say, hey, Kevin.
They were there, I don't remember what year it was, but they were there competing, and Ronnie was like, damn, he kept placing low, and so anyway, Ronnie went to Kevin's hotel room just to talk with him, get some advice and all that, and Kevin was in there eating pizza, and I think this was at like the day of like prejudging or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's just chilling in his room, Kevin is, with pizza and vodka. And Ronnie comes in and they're talking. Kevin goes, "What? Ronnie, have some of that pizza and vodka." So he didn't want to at first, it sounded like. Then after about 6-7 shots, they were done. They had their pizza and they had their talk and all that.
Was this before or after prejudging? When was this?
This was after. So the next day was the main show. So Kevin said when Ronnie hit the stage, he was just unbelievable because he had that pizza, the alcohol, and it just
swole him up. Swole him.
Yeah, he looked more ripped. He looked unbelievable.
Because you push outward and you don't lose your degree of conditioning.
Right. Well,
but
who else was telling us that was Kirk Karwoski. Now Kirk's beach video, I'll tell you, that was at his peak in '94. So
I've seen him much bigger than that. He looked massive in that. I've seen him 20 pounds heavier than that, and he looked like the real Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, but he was really, really lean at this time.
Correct.
He
Absolutely.
looked really good. In fact, there's a lot of comments on his video. If you go to YouTube and type in Karwoski beach video, you'll see it. And he looks ripped, and I mean, he's got great abs, the whole thing. And there's a lot of comments.
And you didn't see his best body part. His leg. JP, you didn't see his best body part, his legs.
He didn't show his legs.
Which made his upper body look small.
But he's hanging out in the kitchen, mixing up a Metrix protein shake with a Coors Light because everybody drank his milk and he was pissed off and all that.
And he looks like an Olympia winner. He looks like an Olympia winner.
But the thing was that he said about that, he said, look, I ate clean as a whistle up to this point, and he says, okay, I never take a vacation. I'm taking a week off. I'm going to hang out with these dudes in Ocean City. And they drank beer and ate hamburgers and burritos. He said by the day, he was getting more ripped.
Yeah.
And just looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. There's a window there, and we're not sure exactly.
It's always the window is always shorter than you pick.
Yeah.
Right, wherever you think the cutoff is, it was probably about 12 hours ago. But if you hit it right, you can gain that weight. Then you get back on the wagon, right? And you don't go crazy. If you keep going buck crazy with the pizza, the ice cream, the beer diet, which we love and deserve, but you got to cut it off. And then at that point, what the elite pros would do and what they call their off season is they wouldn't have a cheat day. I mean, you don't wake up and start eating burritos. You know what I mean? They would have like a cheat evening where they'd go out to a restaurant. But I mean, they're not purposely stuffing their faces, all Saturday, in anticipation because it's cheat day. Let's wake up and eat some tamales. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, they're not doing that. But that night when they do go to the good restaurant and dress up and the food tastes good, let's roll. Let's have the appetizers. Let's have the wine courses. Let's have salads. Let's have entrees. Let's have delicious other stuff. Let's have desserts. Let's do it all.
So my question is.
But you get back on the wagon Sunday morning.
Yeah, you got to get back on it and adhere to the consistency. So
correct.
The question here is, because a lot of people listening aren't going to be on such an extreme nutritional plan as a lot of the guys that we're talking about. So
then the burst will be less. The more extreme you deprive, the more effective the burst. That's the reality.
Right.
And it ain't nothing to do with civilian people. We're just sharing with you, this is what happens with the elite. Because the elite really starve out, and they might starve out to make weight for wrestling. They might starve out in order to make, to lose from 205 to 198. Who knows how they starve out? But if they do get depleted, then this burst strategy works, assuming that they don't get piggish and stay too long at the fair. You know what I mean? Right. So
now you're training a handful of guys right now every Sunday. So
right.
I mean, have you already had a talk with them, or is this something you're going to talk to them about?
Not really. If they want to, it's not like we don't drill them on nutrition. First off, they're all pretty damn fit anyway. I mean, we don't have any fat guys. There's nobody that really is like in need of, expert nutrition. But it's out there. I mean, whatever degree, nutrition never ends. I mean, you can Sean Ray, one time I interviewed Sean Ray, and he said, he said, these guys will take nutrition to such a finite degree, you'd have to work at NIH full-time in one of their labs in order to, satisfy the science that's required. And it's like he said, it's simpler than that. It's what nutrition works for you in order to lower your body fat. That's what bodybuilding nutrition is about. It's not about building mass. Anybody can build mass. Mass is easy. Just take in surplus calories and power train. That's the easy part, right? The hard part is getting ripped without losing all the gym muscle, right? You can't just starve. That's simplistic. That's idiotic. You go 10 steps forward and 8 steps back. Then that's the way they used to do it between the bulk up diet and the starvation diet, right?
Right.
Back in the 60s and the 70s when we didn't know any better. And it's a little more subtle than that.
I think the bottom line, especially because, like I said, most people that are listening to this, they're not elite athletes. Maybe some are, and chances are they already know this stuff. But I think the bottom line is, hey, man, it's the holidays. You're with family and friends. Have a good time. If you overindulge, and who cares? Get back on the diet Monday. Start training. Start doing the cardio again. Get back on it.
Well, I would put it different. I would say Christmas is coming. Right. Right. And that's the whole month of December. So why don't you fat guys coming off Thanksgiving get on some serious lean out, cut the calories back, clean up the eating, kick up the cardio, more volume on the weight training, less power training. We'll save that. And take the month of December to kind of get as lean and light as possible. Then when here come the holidays, starting Christmas, New Year's, have at it. Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's real. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And then come January 2nd, you'll be sick of it anyway. You've been picking out for 7 days or whatever. So just get back on the wagon, right? And that's the classical way to get leaned out going into the new year. And then you spend the winter getting trimmed up. It's a natural evolution of things, but it's dependent upon, after indulging too much on Thanksgiving, having a really good December.
Right. Well, if you can invent an anabolic burst cycle that'll last from Thanksgiving to New Year's, I'm in.
No, it lasts from Christmas to New Year's.
That's what I'm saying. Can we extend that?
No.
But you can't.
No, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Of course you can't. You know that.
You're real extreme. Your diet is really dialed in. Maybe you're an elite athlete.
No, you keep saying elite athlete. You don't have to be. You keep saying elite athlete. You don't have to be an elite athlete to tighten up your eating. That's easy.
Exactly.
Just stop eating the bad shit. How hard is that? Come on. Just do that for the month of December. Just do that for the month of December, and you'll be all set. And
right. But the point was, the more elite you are, the more dialed in you are, the longer that anabolic state lasts. So so what we basically said was it can last up to 72 hours, but that's about it.
No, it isn't. It's completely different, dependent on the physiology of the individual. It has nothing to do with degree of fitness or whether they're elite or unfit. It's more of a physiological hardwiring. Some people are able to maintain it, longer, right? Other people not so much before spillover occurs. Now, the question is, how do you know when spillover occurs? Right? Because we're all different. So, I mean, your spillover is going to occur different than mine. How do we know? There's no finite science to it. Ultimately, it depends on experience where you do this, on a regularly reoccurring basis. Like it's almost any time you lean out, and then you're gonna transform into the a mass building mode. The natural thing to do after you come out of a lean out mode is get on a mass building mode. That's the ebb and flow, right?
Right.
Makes sense. The burst happens right at that little tiny point between the two, right?
Okay. Well, is there anything you wanted to add on training? You touched on it a little bit, but training to go along with the anabolic burst?
Well, the burst lines up really well with power training, whereas, getting purposely depleted and leaned out, that goes extremely well with a high volume approach. Right, and also more cardio and varied cardio. Try some different kinds of cardio. Don't get stuck in just riding the damn stationary bike,
Yeah. And then what you do is you like to walk, so you'll go on a walk.
No, I don't walk. I run. I sprint. I sprint.
Yeah.
I sprint. I run. I jack it up. I go. We go. We go. We go. We go. We push.
Yeah, and you're not on a treadmill. You're going through the mountains.
Yep. But I have that. But I live in a neighborhood that allows that. Now, most every area, I think, in this day and age, when you say has a public park within a reasonable distance, you do, right? You have a nice public park within a couple miles of where you live, right?
Yeah, I've got parks all around.
Yeah, I think that I think that most people in this day and age, that their communities, they have that. And the best time to hit the public parks is early on weekend mornings. Nobody's there.
Right.
So it's the perfect time. The morning is the best time for cardio. Beautiful, brings you awake.
And you're running through the woods, and so the great thing about what you're doing is you've got some great hills to sprint up.
Oh yeah, a lot of elevation, a lot of decline. Yeah. You get your power pushing up the hills, but you get your speed. You open your stride length going down the hills.
Right.
Right. But you're from this neighborhood.
Yeah, I've been out that way.
Yeah, that's how you got your big legs.
I got the big legs from going traipsing through the woods trying to find good fishing spots.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. All right.
Oh, well, that was good.
All right, thank you, my buddy.
Now I know how to get ripped during the holidays.
Now, you don't need the burst part. You need the deprivation part. Okay, that's what you gotta. That's what you gotta concentrate on. You got the burst part down.
By the way, it's funny we were talking about before we went on. I started noticing like little funny things happening in all these videos, like. Usually a cat will walk through or somebody will come through.
Allegedly.
Navy SEAL style, coming crawling through the...
It might be a Navy SEAL.
So if anybody spots something like that and wants to send us a comment on Facebook, I'll send you a t-shirt. Because this is raw and anything happens and usually does. I'm surprised you're not sideways today.
Oh, that's a low blow there out there from Rancho Cucamonga, wherever you're at. Well, you wanted something to happen. I think it just did.
There you go.
I think it was the aliens checking in with me.
Send me a t-shirt.
Are we good?
Listen, we gotta get off here. So,
happy Friday.
Today's Friday, so we usually do these on Thursdays. Check out Marty's weekly column and podcast videos, Raw with Marty Gallagher at ironcompany.com.
And
the articles button, you'll see at the very top of the site. Just click on that. You'll see Raw. And then if you want to hear this podcast,
anybody's serious about making a vital physical transformation, get in touch with me for personal online training. We don't play, but we always get results, and I got a couple spots open. So if anybody's got the situation and is serious about transformation, give us a call.
And you're training people from all over the world, and this works out great because of the technology that we now have. We've got great video on these phones. We've got all kinds of stuff that you can really take a look at. Even though you're not there, you can address, what people's form they're using on the squats, deadlifts, bench press, whatever.
It's the next best thing to me being there. And we set up this. We set up the system. We set up the periodized system. We hold you accountable, and we eat the elephant one bite at a time. Usually 12-week in 12-week periodized cycles. So anyway, that, and also JP, we should mention the Kirk bar.
Kirk bar makes a great Christmas gift coming up. You can see that if you go to ironcompany.com. Just go up to the upper right-hand corner of the search bar and type in Karwoski bar. It'll come right up. It's a great power bar if you're looking to put a power bar in your facility, in your garage gym, in your school, whatever. We've got a lot of great reviews. Ed Cohn has used it, and a bunch of other guys have reviewed it and absolutely love it. So it's good value, USA made bar. It's a great bar.
Limited quantity. Okay, there's only going to be a certain number of these suckers made. This is like getting a Ferrari GTO,
And Kirk is actually signing autographs. He's got some great pictures of him squatting. I don't know if it's 1,003. It might be where it's 9 something, but he'll send you that with everybody that buys a Kirk bar. So that's kind of cool too. To go back to the online training, if you want to contact Marty or even Kirk, because he's available for this.
Yes, he is.
Just go to our homepage. You'll see athletes, Iron Company athletes. Click on there, and you'll see the contact information for these guys. Just reach out to them, and they can kind of assess your situation.
Like no one else.
Yep, Marty's book, Purposeful Primitive, very popular book, and Strong Medicine can be purchased at Iron Company and on Dragon Door as well. And then for all your equipment needs, like strength equipment, free weights, cardio, rubber flooring, everything.
Dumbbells. Iron Company. Don't forget your dumbbells. His dumbbells are incredible.
Yes, the urethane dumbbells, and we've got
with the beveled hand, the ones with the handles.
The dumbbells with the handles?
The beveled, they're the shaped handles.
Yeah, well, we've got all that. I mean, we've got our own. We've also got, we've got great dumbbells by Iron Grip, Ivanco, Hampton makes great dumbbells. A lot of good partners we have, so check our website out. But that's it. We're done, so everybody enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you next week.
Starve before burst.